We should not seek to build machines that have consciousness or competence beyond the logic. What we want from machines is just to do the damn work. You know? We don't want machines to be thinking, you know, and why would we want to? You know, that's our job. Our job is to look in the future, to think, to interact, to communicate, to invent. We should also be very careful about efficiency. We don't want efficiency to be more important than humanity. Organization can have an exponential approach, but humans aren't exponential. You know, we evolve, and so we are basically forced to look at exponential change and then boil it down to what we can manage. And this is a question of intuition and mindset. As I like to say, we should embrace technology, but not become technology, because when you become technology, you become a commodity. Right? Because you know the things that make us human have nothing to do with technology. They are things like spirituality, understanding, emotions, foresight, creativity, communication, the things that machines will never understand. We can do many, many things online that are really powerful and much cheaper, much more efficient. But when it's about making a human connection, we're still human, right? And we're still going to be able to sort of feel the other person, and that can't be done on the screen, not even in a hologram. I would be worried at the moment where I get out of bed and I cannot exist, I cannot boot up, so to speak, right, without connecting to the internet. At that moment, I would be worried. Now in the digital future, it's not just about functioning, right? And that creative part has to be allowed. And how do you allow it as a leadership team? Well, you make room for error. We're moving towards a world where it's much less about our skills, like being able to write code or whatever, and a lot more about personality. This is going to be so important for us to rediscover the original human skills. I call them the androrhythms, not the algorithms, you know, the human things, like curiosity, like imagination. That is the source out of which new jobs will be born. I'm very excited about AI and the possibility of smart machines. I would just rather prefer not to call it intelligent, artificial intelligence, because it kind of sounds like semi-human, and they're absolutely not. They are smart in their own way, those machines, right? And that is important, because we can solve a lot of problems with smart technology, but humans have a 360-degree view of the world. We have emotional intelligence, social intelligence, kinesthetic, musical intelligence, right? We see the world like this, the machine sees the world like this. Technology should remain a tool, not a purpose. It is quite clear in my view that an artificial intelligence that sits in a drone should not have the authority to decide based on its own programming to fire weapons at people without human intervention. But believe it or not, there's 20 countries around the world that are building this and want to sell it. That's why I say we need to agree on where we're going, and AGI is not where we want to be going, I think, for the foreseeable future. What technology is going to allow us to prosper and flourish as humans? Which means, you know, all the things that we need to be human, not just money. And which technology will dehumanize us? How we govern technology is an existential issue, just like COVID and just like climate change, because if we don't govern technology, we'll end up in a world where humans are programmable and machines are running the show. Well, it's the difference between proaction and precaution, right? We must have proaction, because that's how science and technology moves forward. You know, we can't limit that too much, because that would be putting a huge filter on it, right? But if we don't have precaution and we say, well, if this does work, you know, what are the consequences? Then we're talking about the oil and gas business, you know, which moved forward regardless of what comes out the other end. We need sort of a digital ethics council. You know, we need a council of wise people who say, okay, yeah, we could do that. We could connect my brain to the internet and I become superhuman. That is possible in 10 years. But is it a good idea? Really, what's missing already today is that central entity that takes care of a digital ID, of making sure that it's used in the right way, making sure the rules are being kept, because there are basically almost no rules there. There are a few rules like the GDPR and stuff, but you know, we don't have that in place yet. It's the role of government to balance between the possibilities and what the citizens need and want, right? And so in the end, it's going to be the public-private partnership that we need to make those larger decisions. And that decision is really only one. What kind of future do we want? Because in terms of technology, it's all possible. In terms of money, it's all possible. And that needs to change, because if we just go down the road as doing what we can, we're going to end up in a machine world.